Hello everyone. So I'm here with Leroy. I came visiting here in Red Deer today to get all the information regarding stringing techniques and strings that a beginner to an advanced player can use. Hi Leroy.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm great, actually.
Looks so busy.
It's a I'm very busy.
Yeah, I see there's a lot of rackets hanging there with no strings.
A lot of stringing, yes. I do lots of stringing.
Yes. So what do you do something prior to stringing or every player needs to watch their racket for?
So prior to stringing, I inspect the racket. I inspect all the grommets to make sure that there's no tears or any of it is broken. A perfect example would be this racket here. A couple grommets or even more grommets need to change because there's tears on most of them. So rips like this. Once it's split like this, the string can get in between here and cause the stringing to rip on hitting.
Okay.
So I check and change all grommets that needs to be changed.
Okay, perfect. That's a good tip to know. Okay, so I have this one question. Let's say if I got a new racket,
Yes.
and how do I know how much tension to get?
So on every racket, it tells you, manufacturer tells you exactly how much tension the max the tension the racket can go into. So if we look here, it says 4U and it says 20 to 28 pounds in G5, right? So 4U means it's the weight of the racket. So weight.
Okay.
Right? 20 to 28 pounds, the max tension that the racket can go.
Okay.
G5 is the handle of the racket, the sizing.
Okay.
So those are the three specs that come on all rackets. Most of them, some of them will have them in the middle here. Some of them usually right here on the handle itself.
Okay, gotcha. So do you think playing with a heavier racket like 4U is better or 3U or 2U or 1?
So 3U would be heavier than 4U. And personally, I believe like if people, if you like a heavier hitting game, more faster swings, I would definitely go with a 4U for speed, and a 3U I would use for more hitting hard, right? Not saying that you can't get the same out of both rackets. That's just my recommendation because I do have both. Like I use a Nano Flare 1000 and I have them both in 3U and 4U.
Okay.
Right?
So but there's one. So a head heavy, head light, balanced. So is there a particular player that use like for example singles versus doubles versus mixed players?
So head heavy.
Yeah.
Right? Head heavy. Like so what I would say is this is a perfect example for that kind of stuff. Like so these two so you can see, right? This is ASRock 88S, right? And 88, they're both 88S, but one is also a D. There's the D right here. This is a new gen. Okay, so one is for front and one is for back. So one is for more hitting harder, smashing. One is it tells you on the racket skill itself for more front court, faster game, right? There's rackets that are designed for specific things on the court.
Okay.
But doesn't mean that these newer rackets, you can't get both out of them. More balance. I think that's the way most Yonex is going, is more balance into most of their rackets.
So I don't need to just play just because I'm a friend player. I'm just going to stick to only 88S Pro.
No.
I could just work with any racket that I got.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's say if a beginner is trying out badminton, so what is some string tension that you recommend?
I will recommend for a beginner, first day picking up a racket, I recommend 22 pounds.
Okay. Is there a particular reason why?
22 pounds, like I said, the higher we go in tension, the smaller our sweet spot gets. 22 pounds is a lot of more bouncing on the racket, and it gives you more free way to swing and just hit and miss it as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start badminton, you need to be able to get that consistency going prior to getting a higher tension.
Okay, what if I have like I work out a lot? Can I just use higher tension than that. I don't want to be a beginner.
So you're a guy that you're a buff guy. You come into the gym, and you see everybody hitting, and you say, "Okay, I can hit as hard as everybody else." I still would recommend 22 pounds because badminton is not based on how strong you are, as we can tell based on our Olympians and everybody in the world. We can see it's based off of correct technique and hitting the right shot at the right time, and timing also is very, very important.
So you recommend beginners to just play around that 22 tension and get used to it?
Yes.
Let's say I'm a beginner. I played for like certain years now. Now I think I want to update. So what do you recommend for intermediate and competitive level of players for stringing and tension?
So I recommend for intermediate players, so you move by, I recommend anywhere from 23, 24 pounds, especially if you're playing with plastic.
Okay. How about for feather?
For feather, we can go to, for intermediate still, 25 pounds. I would say that 25 pounds.
Okay. So what is your top 3 favorite string to use?
My top 3 favorite strings to use would be BG65s, BG66 Ultramax, and then BG80s.
Okay, is there any particular reason why you use them?
So I started off using BG65s, which is just soft feeling and a little bit more control I felt for me. Then I went into using younger. I was like to smash a lot. So I went into using BG66 Ultramax, which is high repulsion, more on the power side. And then as I got older, I wanted a little bit of harder strings, but also gives me more control and a little bit balance.
Okay.
So like I went to BG80s and I haven't turned back. I've been using BG80s over 10 years now.
Wow. That must be a good string to use now.
Yeah.
So, and as you mentioned, you already said you used it for like 10 years for the BG80?
Yes.
Okay, and that is the current string you're using for your rackets?
Yes, I use BG80s on all my rackets.
Okay. Have you tried any other strings than what you use currently?
Yes, I've tried many other strings. So because I string rackets, all of these rackets here are my personal rackets. So these are all my personal rackets. And what I do is I string different strings on them. So all of these I give to people. So this here would be BG66 Ultramax. I have BG80s. I have BBS 77s on some. I have different strings that I've tried to also give the customers a chance to hit with a different string to see which one they're comfortable, what they prefer. So I've tried all the Onyx strings.
Okay. So would you recommend different strings and tensions for player playing plastic versus feather?
Yes, I would. So I would definitely recommend for people that are playing plastic, I would recommend that you more control durability string. Control durability. Durability could be like your BG65s, BG65 TIs because of the 70 mm's higher, and it's more forgiving.
Okay.
For a feather, we need a little bit more control. I would probably recommend my favorite strings, which is BG80.
80s. Nice. How long before a tournament should I get my rackets restrung?
So, think about the racket. I believe that if you have a tournament on Friday, I believe that you can get your racket strung Monday. It settles in. You hit with it by Wednesday, and it should sit into that tension range. Usually a lot of people think that if you string your racket at 30 pounds, it stays at 30 pounds. It doesn't. It's like a car that drives off the lot. As soon as the racket comes off the machine, it doesn't sit at that tension for, forever. I could take it out, hit with it a couple times, and it loosen. So usually 2 to 3 pounds under what you get it. Okay. It settles at. That's why they say 3 months is roughly what your racket should last, right? Before you should change the tension to get back to your normal tension.
Okay, that's perfect. But does it matter, like if I were to play summertime versus wintertime tensions?
Different tensions in the season?
Yes.
No.
So it should be okay if I'm getting 30 right now during the summer versus winter.
Yes.
So this is the one where you can be open about it. Lastly, what is your record number of rackets you string in an hour?
Record number of rackets I strung in an hour. So, as we're talking about beginners, I'm actually, even though I've been stringing for over 7 years, I still see myself as a beginner. It takes me, I want to say, about 40 minutes to string a racket. So, at fastest I've gone is 29 minutes, but still, I still sit comfortably because I don't like to rush. I want to say I personally can only string one racket in an hour.
Okay, that's
But if-
very honest.
Yes.
What is the popular string and tension most people use, and why is it so popular?
Well, what I notice nowadays from stringing is that a lot of people are using the X-Pulse string line of strings. So I believe that people just like what's new. So that's new strings on the market, and a lot of people are liking them. Me personally, I've tried all the X-Pulse 60, 63, 65, and 68s, which is these strings right here. This is 63. These are 65s and these are 68s. Personally, they're not for me, but I noticed that these are the new popular strings that everyone is using in the market now. Everyone is going for the X-Pulse line.
So is the popular means good?
Nope, I don't think popular means good. I think popular means that we want to be like everybody else out there that's using these strings right now, but not train like everybody else out there that's using the strings.
So what is the current racket you're using, and then the string and tension?
So the current racket I use is Nano Flare 1000 ZZ. Okay, and the strings I use is BG80. Like I said, my favorite strings, and my tension is 27 pounds.
Okay. And how about the other rackets like other players carry around?
So one thing I would say to look out for is players who basically have two or more different rackets in their bags, right? It's hard already to get accustomed to one racket. Imagine now trying to get accustomed to two different rackets plus different strings, right? So I recommend that if you are getting a racket and you want to get a different racket, it's a racket in a line of the same skills, not completely, let's say, having, and Victor Axelson usually use Astrox 100 ZZ for singles, right? And then you go and you get doubles, more designed for doubles, because I think the Indonesian pair were using this for doubles. Like it's totally different, and you're not gonna get the same out of it. So all players that are looking to compete, beginners, intermediate, I recommend having two of the same racket.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Leroy, for giving me your time and sharing all your stringing knowledge to us.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me a part of your journey. It was a pleasure.